It's new AT-AT, the all-terrain armored transport from Kenner. Batteries not included, action figures each sold separately. You can make AT-AT walk. Its legs are big enough to crush obstacles. You can move AT-AT's head and pretend to scan for rebels. AT-AT has a cockpit for Imperial Commander and AT-AT driver and laser machine guns. When you push a button to fire the laser cannons, you activate battle lights and sounds. There's even a troop compartment. New AT-AT from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.
There it is, my friends. Star Wars Day is here. We're rolling along. Matt, my friend, thanks for doing this again, man. This is a lot of fun, right?
Hey, thanks for having me. I love Star Wars Day, and it's always, I think you've mentioned earlier in another video, it's nice to see the positive side of things. A lot of people focus on the negative and all the other nonsense, and it's fun to laugh at it, don't get me wrong. Like, trust me, I enjoy laughing at bad stuff, but you got to enjoy what made it as big as it is today and what we love about it. So it's always cool to set that stuff aside and just embrace the good and relive it,
Well, you and I have, we have no qualms about crapping on what we think is bad. So for anybody out there who thinks that we don't have our own track record of calling out Disney, Lord knows. My initial Kenobi video was legendarily nonsense for my channel for a minute. But I think there's a thing for the positive stuff. Like there's a Ghostbusters Day coming up. I'd love to see people doing positive Ghostbusters content for the June 8th, and I'd love to see people doing positive. I keep saying this over and again. It's like, pick your lane for things that you want to do on your channel, but don't just because it may not be as it's just not as right. It's hate and controversy and things like that tend to get more traffic and tends to get more engagement.
Yeah.
The algorithm in YouTube is built for that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I think there's some value for putting positive things on the other side of the scale.
You gotta balance it, right? If you only concentrate on negativity and all that stuff, as much as it's interesting, you get really burnt out really quick. So, like you've seen me before too, I do tend to laugh and focus on the negative and drive it into the wall because it is funny. But it also, like you said, drives traffic and stuff. But I don't care. If it's not great for the algorithm, I have to focus on good stuff sometimes for my own self, mental state. Yeah, because it's otherwise, man, you get burnt out. I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore. So yeah, and it's even more fun to do this with people who have the same love and passion for it because it just reminds you of why you love it to begin with. So.
And it wasn't part of my design to have a lot of different people on, and the scheduling and stuff is a lot different this year. But I also felt so, I just love the fact that other people are joining me with this, right? Angry Canadians gaming for like 8 hours. Actually, right now, live on his show, Pacific 414 is doing Dark Forces, the remastered version. He's doing a gaming on that. You had DJ Ronnie G did some stuff on his channel as well. So it's just putting stuff in that side of the scale. Let's talk about what you love. So, and yes, folks, total Pops boomerang type moment. Had this set for 1 a.m., which this guy found out literally 20 or 30 minutes ago, by the way. And I'm like, oh, I did. Hence the reason there are comments where everyone's like, where's Pops? Your Pops is all right. It's middle of the night. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully Nas will find his way back because we have the surprise for Nas. But there's Deborah, Zax, and others. Yeah. And Squeaka became a member today. Very cool to see her joining the old Pop squad there. That's pretty cool. And Scott has gifted 5 more Pops memberships.
That is awesome.
Amazing. Those went to Pete and Connie, Mark, and Scott, and Mary's Game Room. So yeah, a lot of more people are now Pops members. Maybe that gives me a chance to add a couple more emojis. I love adding the emojis. You got to remember to do them too, though. When they give you, it doesn't appear as though they take them away, Matt. It feels like once you get them, you can keep them, even if your accounts go back. So I got to keep adding them in while I got a chance to. So add some more. There was a Star Wars Day emoji. I'd taken it down. Maybe I should just leave it in there now. I don't know.
Yeah, I would leave them all in, because it locks it in with no matter if you lose members or not. Once you hit that tier, you have them and you're good to go. So
perfect. We'll use up those emojis, guys. Enjoy that. And yes, early access is probably one of the main benefits. I haven't really been able to do a membership type stream, but we're going to open that up here in a minute for many of you to jump in. And if you're a member, you definitely get to be a part of things for sure. So with that said, Matt, let's talk a little bit about this video. And I know you talked about it a little bit on your channel, but I want to talk to you about going to see Phantom Menace with the baby again, right? You went and took her out. I gave her the theatrical experience, got and saw Phantom Menace. So talk a little bit about that theatrical experience a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. And Baby Freak. I mean, God, she's about to turn 16. Ooh,
I got to dig what I can do. Mine are adult and married and stuff, bro. What do you want?
I know. It was a blast. Like I mentioned in my video, and I like I said, most of your members and viewers here probably haven't seen it or anything, but that was the very first Star Wars movie that I got to experience in the theaters when I was a kid, right? So I wouldn't call myself a prequel baby, only because I grew up on the old school Star Wars, right? Seen it on TNT all the time. So and then we had the VHSs before the new stuff when he remade it and added all that nonsense. I love the original one, but the very first movie that I got to experience in theater was The Phantom Menace, and I remember the hype of it when it was going on, the tons of people, right? It was so amazing to experience that. So when this came back out, I was like, man, I gotta go. I was like, the last movie that I saw in theaters that was a Star Wars movie was The Last Jedi. I'm not talking about that. We all know how that went. And if you know me, and you know how I feel about that movie. So I had to like cleanse myself of Star Wars I was like, I'm not going out. Like, that's not going to be my last experience. It can't be, right? And then The Phantom Menace came out. I was like, okay, I have to relive this, especially with my kiddo, even though she's seen the prequels or the Disney stuff. I was like, we have to go see this. I mean, number one, the pod racing is amazing, especially we went IMAX, right? So like the race car noises and everything. So that was amazing. And there's definitely some not so great things about this movie, but you gotta see that lightsaber battle on the big screen again with the music and what's crazy was the amount of, I didn't expect really that many people there. There were a lot of people there with their children, and they were about my age. And I mean, I even saw like this girl that was about my age, and she had her older parents with her. And it was just those three. I mean, there were all sorts of people there. Some were dressed up. Someone was wearing like the Mandalorian mask, the Boba Fett mask, a Stormtrooper mask. One had the robe and the lightsaber. And I haven't seen that since Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like that, it was just so awesome to relive that. And like I said, to come full circle. That was the very first movie I saw in theaters. It will probably be my last one that I see in theaters. Maybe, it depends. But I was like, for as of now, come full circle and take the kiddo and experience that. And then plus she got to see, you know, the people dressing up and the hype and everything, because it felt good. It was just, it literally reminded me of opening night when I went to see it back in, what was that, 98?
99. 25th anniversary. That's why we're going to talk about it tonight.
Yeah.
It's our review movie this year. So this year's the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace, and yeah, it was larger than life. It gave us it gave people a dose of what the original run was like. The toy stuff was so exaggerated, of course, because everybody thought, oh man, people are going to bust all these open. So if I keep mine sealed, they'll be worth a lot. So
I still
have some. Yeah,
I have. It was a multi-pack of Anakin and Darth Maul figure. And because me and my brother are only 2 years apart, we got a lot of the same stuff when we were kids. I don't know why that was the mentality, but it's like, well, if he wants it, then he's got to have one. He's got to have his own.
The same thing, yeah.
Exactly. So we got a lot of duplicates of things sometimes. We're like, oh man, this is going to be worth something. And I still have it. It's not worth anything now. You could find them all over the place. But it's still cool just to look at it and find it. And they had those little chip reader things with the figures back in the day, if you remember that. So
that came around another wave to reissue the whole set of line again with the little chip readers now. So yeah, they did the whole thing again. Yeah, it was just such a great phenomenon to get my kids to live through as well, because they were like definitely prequel babies. They were like around 3, and they had grown up on Star Wars, so for them they were all about lightsabers. They actually jumped out of their seats pretending that they had lightsabers, fighting the robots. It was insane. Like the experience of it is something that you can't reminisce. And I will challenge you though, because next year, do you know what next year's anniversary is?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
It's Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh, Okay. Yeah.
I may have to.
I may have to go experience that.
I felt the same way. Like, I'm not sure, but again, Phantom Menace. I mean, it finished third in the box office that week. I mean, like $8 million or something.
Yeah.
It did amazing. So their incentives, because it was obviously Fathom Events has been doing this for a while, and now they're seeing some of these successes. It's like easy money for them. They don't have to really do a whole lot. What they might have really made a poster. They put out some popcorn buckets. I mean, this is like just the marketing department. So Empire Strikes Back in the theater, man. If you never saw it in the theater, oh man, the Cloud City stuff. And
I could tell you the kiddo's going to want to go see that one for sure.
The Hoth battle and the best. Oh my gosh. I don't know how I can't.
I just wish
now, I just can't back out. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm committed.
I wish, and I know minor, very minor. I just wish that we were able to at least have an option, whether we want like special edition or the original cut. I know now it's the only way to watch the original from like that I remember is like on the VHS, like the THS, you know what I mean? Without the a little added, but that's minor. But overall, yeah, I agree with you. Like that's going to be hard for me to pass up. And knowing the kiddo, she's going to be like, we should probably go. So I will say this. You actually reminded me of this. I remember the biggest thing of Phantom Menace when I originally saw it back in 99 when it came out. I don't remember there being like, you know how trailers spoil everything now? Like you just, like the whole movie is basically given away in a trailer. I don't recall them ever giving away that Maul had a double-bladed lightsaber before the movie came out. Like, I don't remember seeing that. Maybe it did. Maybe I was just young. But
we can probably go through the annals of the trailers that are online now and probably find out if it was or not. I can tell you the bigger issue of what got us all hyped was, and I think it was probably just the first trailer, not later on marketing, was the first trailer dropped. It was attached to a movie called Psycho, which was the colorized remastered version remake thing with Vince Vaughn. And Phantom Menace's trailer played on that because it wasn't on every single movie. So if you get to the movies, I would sneak into Psycho just to watch the Star Wars trailer for a minute. And it was Obi-Wan twirling a lightsaber. Right? That was the shot that we're all like, whoa. You know what I mean? We saw Maul, we saw the face, you saw the red lightsaber come out. You're like, oh, cool villain. So I think you're right, at least for the initial trailer, 100%. But because maybe later in marketing it might have been revealed. Definitely once toys hit, everybody knew.
I know I never saw that. Like when I was a kid and when I was in theater and that double blade came out, I had never seen that before. And I remember everybody around me losing their crap. Like everybody was like, oh my God, like it went nuts, right? Like that was the coolest thing in the world. We had never seen a double-bladed lightsaber before. I mean, you never saw lightsaber battles like that to begin with from the originals. Yeah. But then I remember, and even the rewatch, when we went just recently to see it, when that happened, that scene, people were clapping and kind of it was just, I have not felt that kind of hype for a movie like that since the prequels came out. Because Force Awakens, yeah, there was some, but still it had its issues and all that stuff. But there was the excitement. It just, I don't know. It was, it just felt, it took me back to when I was a kid. And it was awesome to relive that with the kiddo and her seeing me look like a goofball, getting all excited. Like it was pretty cool.
I think it's great. Padawannabe says, wasn't episode 1 spoiled because they released the game a tad early? Players beat the game before the movie came out. I think that was a big spoil. I don't remember the games. I wasn't really into gaming, so I would not be shocked by that because I definitely know that I think it was about 3 weeks before was the big toy rollout. And Padawannabe, you would know this, right? So let me know. It was about 3 weeks before the movie came out that it would be early May, and tons of that stuff started coming out. I think the bigger spoiler, because they stopped doing this later on, I think it was they also dropped the Terry Brooks novelization. And they dropped it before the film actually debuted. And later on, the novelizations would come out a little bit after the film opened, so people wouldn't have some of the spoilers. And they're more protective of spoilers in the modern era now than they were back then. Like,
I had the episode 1 book prior to the movie, and the book that I had literally Maul's face on it, so I knew what he looked like and everything. But again, you didn't know, and I didn't read the book until after the movie. I was like, I don't want to be spoiled. I didn't want to go into it, but I do know, Padawannabe, that definitely happened with Revenge of the Sith. that the game came out prior to the movie coming out, and the reason that kind of threw people off was the way, because in the game when that came out, there were basically you could kill. I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but you could play as Anakin and kill Obi-Wan. So that came out prior to the movie, and that kind of not really spoiled it for anybody because I guess you kind of knew it was going to happen, but it would just threw people off. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool that they kind of change history.
They gave you the yeah. Yeah, Padawan says the book release. That's probably correct. Yeah. I know the book was. I know the book was because I bought a copy of the book, which I think went to my like I've talked to you about this. A lot of my stuff, I'm like I wanted to get in good hands of people to live on with certain things. I mean, I'll sell stuff. I got to pack eBay when today's over because I'm so behind on all my other stuff that I've been doing. But my book, the episode 1 book went to my older son. He's got that one, so definitely for sure. So what do you got to show off, man? You got anything else you want to show off real quick? We can kind of get through a couple of things or something that you might have had handy.
Yeah,
I didn't really give you a whole laundry list of options here. We're just gonna say, hey, you got something handy? Let's just do it real quick. Then we'll open the mic up and let other people come in. So,
well, I pulled out some things here. So I've showed this on stream before, but I remember this was the original, like it's a Star Wars album.
Oh yeah.
And so this is this was during when the movie originally came out, I guess. And I looked into it, and because part 2 and 3 were definitely not out when this book came out because there's a lot of discrepancies and no mention of like other things, if that makes sense. Like, for example, Tarkin, how they explain here that they don't really mention the Emperor at all. Like he's not involved. Because I don't think he had and if I remember this correctly, again, I'm not claiming I'm the biggest Star Wars nerd in the world. He didn't really have an idea for a second or a third one, correct? Like it was kind of he did that after the fact.
No, that's not really true. So he had the whole story, but it was too big to do one movie. So he compartmentalized it into 3 chapters, and he wrote a backstory because he had to figure out how to tell them on this. Because if you remember, many of us have talked about how George trying to convince the studio that sci-fi, this genre that most of them weren't making money at, it's kind of a dead genre or it's a dramatic genre. It could be this action-packed thing like the old Flash Gordon serials, and we can market it and blah, blah, blah. And he just couldn't get their brains around it. So I think there were certain elements that we see in Empire and whatever. It was coalesced around this one movie. He had to have like a beginning and ending just in case he never got any more financing to do more movies, things like that. So there's a brief reference to the Emperor in the Death Star scene about the Emperor's disbanded the Republic or whatever, right? They've officially become the Empire, right? In that scene, right? So, but we as the users at home didn't really think about the Empire. You're right. It was all about Tarkin. It's all about Vader. And really it's about Vader because he's the one that lives on at the end of the movie and we get more. So I also think the other thing that it might make mention, or at least there was material that would make mention to things like the Clone Wars, but we had no idea what that was. And they didn't really have any of that revealed. Like, so when the Marvel got the license for comic books, they weren't allowed to talk about the Clone Wars. They weren't allowed to write about the Luke, Leia, Vader relationships, the Skywalker family. They weren't allowed to do anything that might handcuff him. Because I think he had all the stuff in place, but I don't think he had all of the details necessarily in place. That fits what you're saying.
Yeah, because like I said, there's a couple things in here that eventually, like you could see when part 2 and 3 came out, or well, 6 and 7, or 5 and 6, sorry, that is not lining up with the book exactly. But the main thing I love about this is just the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, this is what we got. We lived on this.
The models and the practical effects, which you and I are both, most people I think anyway are very affectionate about like practical. I hate CGI stuff anymore. I feel like it's ruined everything. But it's a pretty cool book. It's just something I found long ago. I'm trying to find some other things. It goes into like some things that inspired him to create Star Wars. It has some of the original artwork from, can't remember the guy's name. You'd probably know better than I would.
Ralph McQuarrie.
Yep. There you go. Again, I'm terrible with names anyway. I need you speaking into half my live streams to help me with.
I'm going to be the voice, the voice in his ear for his shows now. Ralph McQuarrie.
Where was I? Wish I was a little bit. Oh, here you go. Here's some of that artwork, which I think everybody's probably seen before.
Yep, there it is. The prototype, the C-3PO. That's basically, old sci-fi, man. It's old Tusken Raiders. Yeah. There's great stuff.
So this was pretty cool. And then a couple of these Star Wars Galaxy.
Well, before you get to that, let me piggyback right off of that because I have in my hand. I said this with Scuba Pete. So if any of you have come from the Scuba Pete show, to kind of repeat myself. So this is the original Star Wars storybook that the kids got. This is what we got, right? So
yeah,
mine was hardback. Mine was not softback like this one. I don't know when that changed. Or maybe my memory's that bad, but because it's dated, right? It's a 78 book. Oh, that's a 78 book. So maybe the 77 one was hardback. Because I remember mine being hardback, and of course, I'm pretty sure it fell apart. But in here, you also have, I didn't really do this. It's the storybook with just all sorts of photos, right?
That's pretty cool.
Which was great because, you didn't have stuff. We didn't have VHS and cable and all that. So we're reliving the movie and all these details through these images and stills and things like that, and intricate detail. And this is the scene we didn't have, right?
Oh yeah.
So they cut out Biggs. So Biggs got cut out. So for us uber nerds, talk about gatekeepers. It was if kids knew they were Biggs or not. Yeah, if you had kids who knew anything about Biggs. So, and then I'm trying to see if it says in here anything about. I don't think it says Emperor's name. I love the fact that in the book, though, it does mention General Tag by name right here, because that was another gatekeeping thing, because people know if his name was actually General Tag, things like that. That was one of the big things. I'm trying to think what else came to mind. Just it was all of sort of like the traditional stuff that you knew from other material. I was trying to see if there's any other deleted scenes or things that were kind of a big deal. But yeah. So yeah, this was a huge deal when I was a kid. I lived on this thing. I love this thing. My album that I had wasn't the same album that you showed. I somehow have in my brain a different color, but I could be wrong. It could just be a different version. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, this says this book came out in 77. So and I found this at just kind of like an antique store. I had never seen. This is not something I grew up with. This is something I kind of found after the fact. But
JT's here. Hey man. Hope you're doing all right. Happy Star Wars Day to you, my friend.
These, though, are like what I grew up with in my youth.
Star Wars Galaxy magazines are the bomb.
When these came out, I have a handful of them. And this is kind of what we were talking about backstage is that, obviously the movies were the foundation of everything. But if it wasn't for the books, things like this, the video games, right? I personally don't think Star Wars would be as big as they are today. It was a lot of people after the fact that embraced and fell in love with this IP and obviously got the rights to continue on and the approval to write more of these books and everything. And it's what turned it into today. And it's funny going through these old books because this is from 96.
Tim's talks trolling.
This one is.
Hey, Tim, by the way. Rebel Moon is my Star Wars now.
Oh no, dear.
All right,
dear
go ahead.
Lord.
Go ahead, brother.
So
yeah, there you go.
I saw that, and I love the 90s ads too in here. It's so cool. So things like this plate, and then you have like these airplanes that you could fly or rockets, the model kits that you could build and really fly them.
Yeah.
Which actually, because I showed you this backstage, if you want to show off your...
I will. Let me say hail to Mike, the Comic Relief Crusader. Hail, chat. Long live the classic Star Wars. He's a 2-month member, chat. Thank you, bro. Thank you for your support and being your friendship, man. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, you were showing off this magazine. We're going through the magazine. Those things are a blast, by the way. Those things are a blast.
Oh, they're so cool.
And I had told Matt, I said, it's funny because it just literally was just coinciding with the fact that I need to do a show and tell. I don't think I've shown these off, and then I want to pack them up because I don't want to have them out. There's not a great way to display them. And I have that exact plate that he was showing you guys. So yes, during that era, they have these Hamilton Collection, portrait plates. They have different series. So there's character ones like this. They're numbered on the back. They came with like a little certificate right here. So the main reason they're getting packed away is they're not easy to display. I have a different kind of plate, which I told him fell. It didn't break, fortunately, but I too accident prone. These you can get a special plate hanger. That's what it used to be on, but look how it scuffed my edging where the plate hanger was. So I'm not thrilled about doing that with these. But yeah, there's different. There's character ones that would come out. So here's the Han Solo one. And then they did, let me see whichever one's that's next. Because there's a whole character series. I don't have very many. I swore I had more than this, but I don't know where they are. So anyway, here's the Yoda one, which is fine, which is cool.
That's pretty neat.
Because the second series was vehicles. So I still have the TIE Fighter one.
That's awesome. Cloud City.
Course, and it's kind of disappointing because you wish you had more action with this, but it's cool to have.
Oh, that's sick.
Slave One.
Slave One.
Yes. Slave One.
Yeah, not Boba Fett ship, but Slave One.
Whatever nonsense they try to come up with. You know? So yeah, I will. There they are. I'll clip this, something like that. But it's the kind of thing where, you know, like I said, it was fizzling out around the mid '80s, right? So around '85 or so. I talked a little bit about droids and Ewoks. And I didn't do a droids review after all, guys. I'm sorry. It turned out like crap, so I'm just not going to do it. I'll just redo it and publish it at some point, but it just didn't take. They try to make it for little kids too, thinking they could tap into a new group. Nothing flew. It just didn't take off, right? And we were also like, you know, now you're looking at Pops being like, you know, 15, going to be turned 16. I'm getting, you know, do I want to keep playing with toys? You know what I mean? You're starting to get into girls. You're getting, I'll be a car soon, get a job. And more importantly than all that, Ghostbusters is out, Back to the Future is out, Terminator's out. Like the 80s, man. You're old enough now you could watch the horror movies, not be in trouble. You're like going back and finding old horror. I mean, it was like VHS has boomed, like so. It took a couple of years before you had, and Baron did a good job of explaining, like, you know, the role playing games probably came first, licensing there with fans and stuff like that, which got into novels, which got into comic books, which got in, you know, then, and I think. And we talked about this backstage. I don't exactly know some of the ins and outs of some of that, but that's kind of how it was playing out. And for us that were Star Wars fans, we were just loving all this when it came out. So I just enjoyed it. And like I said, I'm the uber Star Wars nerd from the get-go. I was there day one on the drop. Timothy Zahn books, Dark Empire #1. That's the one that's on the wall back here. That's my copy that I have graded. That's not something I bought aftermarket. Trading cards. I still have Star Wars Galaxy boxes of I still sell them to this day. I still sell these cards. It's crazy. I still sell these cards. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, so, and what's cool?
Star Wars Rockets is a good point because they could easily retrofit something like that, right? It was just like, hey Matt, you want the license to do a Star Wars? Yeah. I make rocket ships. Well, yeah, just stick the rocket in an R2D2 bot and make an R. Yeah, that's kind of how they did it, Padawannabe. It wasn't really, but yeah, that'd be cool. Wish I had one too.
And the cool thing about these is just, like we said, it really expands the lore, especially as a kid. Like, if you want to know, like, this magazine specifically is about Vader, right? So it goes into detail of Vader's ship. Whoops.
Yep.
There you go. His helmet, you know, his chamber, and then it gives you those little bitty details of, like, what it is and why he has it. It goes into, like, the initial art of Vader. Like the concept art.
That's the arts on one of those trading cards. It's pretty great. Him becoming Vader, basically.
So, and then not only that, I mean, there's so many. There's more.
One of those too, right away. By the way, which are probably the best reasons to get those is I've been looking to try to track down old Star Wars magazines, Wizard magazines, some of the comic book buying guides for interviews. I don't have it handy, or I'll try to see if I have it handy while we're doing something else. Because I have one of the comic book price guides, and there's an interview with Frank Miller, which you know how I feel.
Yeah.
So,
well, and then too, I got to show off this, Pops. This is familiar, right?
Oh, there we go. Here we go. What do we got here? This is Vader Down.
Yep. Yeah, this is a gift from you, my friend. The only graded comic that I have, but you know my pretty much my love for Vader and the story of Anakin, and this is so sick. Like, I love this thing so much. So
yeah, he's and that's actually not a bad story. I didn't really end up doing a review on that either. So this is like the 2015 era of Disney Star Wars. So their adaptations take place between New Hope, Star Wars, and Empire Strikes Back. It's the adventures of Luke and Leia and Han and Vader and all. It's not terrible. It's just not super. But yeah, the Vader's down. It's cool, man. I'm glad. I wanted to give you something special, and you've been a supporter, and we've gone back since the get go, man. We've been running parallel this whole time. So yeah. Speaking of somebody else that's also a supporter and a fan of us, man, Jacob Ironside is the best, man. He's the greatest. I have him to thank. Let me see if I got it up here. Nope, that's not the right one. I got 2 new avatars, thanks to all of you people out there. But Jacob made me Qui-Gon Pops. That,
that's pretty cool.
Pops. Freaking great, isn't it? So, yeah.
I'm low budget over here. I have I don't know if I have mine. I'll try to find it.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's really good. Well, you think that's sick? Let me get you the new find. Jeez, way in the corner behind the carbonite.
That carbonite's so cool.
Yeah, look at this. This will go up for sale soon.
That's pretty. What run is that?
This is one of the new runs, one of the new variant covers. It's called a virgin art where they don't have any of the logos or anything like that.
That's pretty neat. That's a cool concept idea. Virgin. I never heard of that virgin art.
Yeah, I did a little video on it once about virgin and sketch art, but I probably should do it again. So yeah, this is super, super popular right now. These virgin ones. Yeah, because I went shopping for Loki. Loki will send me with a shopping list. You know, did a little, do a little for you. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to the store. You're missing these 3 issues, or do they have this? And then, yeah, it's a great way for everybody to be happy and good. So yeah, awesome. But yes, Jacob, hope you're doing well, my friend. Bros, yes, Gap's here. Bros and toys before anything. Project Cambrian's here. Great to see you. Zax, awesome, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Thanks for coming back after the 1 a.m. fiasco. Sorry, I boomered that. Let's see. I think I got everybody caught up. So
I know when I saw that, I was like, I hope I didn't miss the stream.
No way. So yeah, so StreamYard, when you set stuff up, guys, a lot of times the default will say we'll say AM, and I just did not catch it. And I was literally just doing. So I have 3 live streams today, 3 pre-records today. I have shorts, videos. It's a lot, and I just fell through the cracks. So yeah, for those of you that are up at 1 a.m., I'm sorry. But if Nas is out there, Nas, you have to make your presence known because we have a special surprise for Nas. But with that said, anything else to show off or talk about, or anything you want to ask me about before we get into anything else? So
well, I picked this up. I had found this. I don't know if you had read it, but I've heard really good things about this run. It's like right after Revenge of the Sith. Okay. Vader. This is 1 through 6. It's obviously the Disney era. But
what is the art that the writer on the top? It'll say on the front. It has his name right there. What's that say? I'm sorry. Underneath the Marvel logo, the first underneath.
Yeah.
What's that say? Turn it around. No, turn it to you so you can read it because it's gonna be too small for us.
Oh, it's
name?
Smith Camuncul, Camuncoli.
Yeah, Smith. I haven't read that one yet, so I don't know.
And Soule.
So I've only read pieces of the Disney Marvel Star Wars because it just has derailed a little bit too, and it's a lot more about introducing new characters and stuff. But I did want to give it a fair shake from like the beginning, and that's what I've been doing. I've been rereading the 2015, and I think I need to do a video where I talk about the 2 or 3 different lines, and they do a good job also of like crossing it over. Like I'm loving the Energon books of current, like right now with the Transformers and Joe's. So some of stuff's modeled in a proper way. Yeah, we'll talk about it. So, but yeah, no, let me know if you read them. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, I'm gonna read. I've heard good things, so we'll see. Yeah. But I definitely want to check it out and read it. So
Matt would definitely be more Sith than me.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, I'm like, what did you guys? Well, you saw? Did you see? I mean, I showed it briefly, but you saw Mags. Mags gets the credit for I am a really old Jedi to Mags. I mean, I'm archaic, man. I'm old Republic Jedi. Pops with that photo.
So this is my avatar. That's my low budget avatar. If you know that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get you some more avatars. That's all. You need a Star Wars avatar. You have a great Back to the Future and some of these thumbnails and stuff. It's turned out great, so it'd be easy enough to clip that out of there.
Oh yeah. I could. It's funny and stupid, so that's fits the channel very well.
All right. So. Well, let's see if anybody else wants to come in here, show anything else off. We'll do that. We'll put that link out there for you guys, so you guys can see that. And let me say this, folks, it's just a fun day to talk positive things and that kind of stuff. So I think I've been pretty good about trying to cover everything in the room, because I'm trying to like just rotate things as they're gone. I put some of the trading cards up over there. Yeah. Yeah, just some different stuff. I don't think I have anything from the OG stuff. I have some more of the magazines.
Yeah, I got a couple other, like I said, the Star Wars Galaxy. I have a handful of them, but I do have this too. I found this, believe it or not, at Ollie's, which I was surprised to have, but it's Star Wars Marvel covers. Alex Ross did this one, obviously. The front here.
I saw that there at one point.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, for fairly cheap what it is, and I love, obviously, I mean, you love it as well, comic book art, but just some of the, the artwork that they have in here. And it's really cool stuff. You know what I mean? What they display.
There's an action figure variant on the right. So a sketch variant on the left and a action figure one on the right.
So it's pretty cool to just see some of the stuff that they have. I mean, some of the art is, it's pretty not great, or some of the comics I've seen are pretty bad, but like, it's a cool Boba Fett looking one.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff in here, and this is the stuff I appreciate, and I love Alex Ross, I think that's the correct.
Use that photorealism.
Oh, dude, that is just unbelievable. I mean, it's like this kind of stuff. It's just so cool. You know what I mean? Just really, I don't know.
Well, when I do that Vader review video, I'll try to remember to highlight a couple of those covers, because you will just not believe some of them are just wicked.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Vader 16 or 17. The variant cover is just wicked cool. Yeah, it's just good stuff, man.
So can't go wrong there. And I mean, this is, like I said, I think this is the stuff that has kept it alive for so long. Our, comic books, the EU books, the magazines, that kind of stuff has really expanded the lore and turned into what it is today, in my opinion, at least. So movies are the foundation.
Is it an outlet for people to just live on with it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a way. Like, it's like, yeah, there's no movie, but I can still read this magazine about it and get a little dose, get a little, you know what I mean? I think
it's to keep it alive. And in my opinion, like, I think the biggest problem that people have said with what at least, Disney and stuff's doing, it's like, yes, it's supposed to be the biggest it's supposed to be a massive universe, right? But and I'm not getting into negatives, but the biggest problem I think that, Disney does is it's turned it, like, if they made Star Wars feel like the size of Manhattan, where these books and these articles, it gives you more information where you've never seen it on screen, and that's okay, because you may not have run into it because the universe is so big and there's so many things going on. So it just keeps dripping you more information and more to learn about, and because that's what we want, right? We always wanted more on these, like a Y-wing. We would saw a Y-wing from the movie. It's like, well, what'd that come from? What was it? Because those ships were all like torn down, kind of like it had no outer shell. And then you have these books that explain, okay, well, the reason why I didn't have it, it was a repurposed thing into this. It was originally this, and that's cool. Like, that's just knowing the backstory of that stuff, and that's what makes it the fandom. And then what was the cool thing about it was when you would go to school and stuff, and you guys talk about it, it's like, well, do you actually know why the Y-wing is the way? You just have that extra knowledge. It's like, well, duh, you should know this, It
was the back of a trading card, too, where it was like, they tell you how old characters were, or they tell you these different, and that was, you had them all memorized because that was all the Star Wars you had.
Oh, I remember. So I remember getting the little the action figures back in the day in the 90s and stuff, right? And I remember, I will never forget, all those, they had on the back of the action figures, obviously kind of like the description of what it is, and you can cut it out and collect them. And I cut them out. And I will never forget the Stormtrooper one, because I loved Stormtroopers. I loved the masks and everything. And I remember reading about it, and it was like, it mentioned the Clone Wars, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell is the Clone Wars? I don't even know what the Clone Wars is. And it said, that was way before the prequels were out and stuff. And that was the coolest thing in the world to me. It was like, I didn't know that the Clone Wars was even a thing. And then when the Clone Wars came out, it was, obviously that was more to learn. But it was just really cool. Whoop.
Yeah, I agree, man. It was stuff they teased way back in the day, too. All right, so we have a guest coming in for a segment. Let's see how what he's going to show off here. Project Cambrium's working on one of his projects here. Let's see here. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, how's it going, Patrick? I'm good,
What's
man. How
up?
are you?
Doing great. That is
I'm just
beautiful.
working on a piece with all original characters.
That is really cool.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
I know you've got a fan project that you've been working on. You've just got such a massive love for old Star Wars and that kind of thing. So, kind of what inspired you
Yeah.
from that era, my friend?
Well, the project, like I mentioned, like I put in the chat like a couple of chats ago, it was I originally just wanted to do something to join the 501st, and then the costuming turned out to be a little cost prohibitive. So my imagination went to other things, and I was gonna build a stupid shooting gallery with Nerf guns and Star Wars figures and all this kind of thing, and then I started seeing this story form in my head and the character, and then I started asking questions about how could I do a story that wasn't like so many other fan films where you just run forest with lightsabers. And so I've been studying, DIY filmmaking for the past, nearly 10 years now by watching YouTube channels like Film Riot. And so a story started to formulate within the confines of a no budget fan series idea, like a no budget fan film. Like how can I make a life-size speeder? Well, I cover a car in painted cardboard and foam, and bang, I just made the car a costume, and I have a bloody speeder. And that was taken from an idea of somebody dressing up a BMX bike to look like a speeder bike from Endor.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So it was neat little tricks. Yeah, gags and things like that. So it was just, okay, how can I shortcut that? So as
And
I
even
was
more
writing
so,
my
you
story,
probably could just get away with doing the front of the car, because similar to the way they did the land speeder, right?
Yes,
The
exactly.
one land speeder shots is on a crane, so they could look like it's floating. So you actually didn't have to see the whole thing. Most of the X-wings were there. Well, actually, I think there were what? How many? I think the original movie only had maybe 2 full-size physical X-wings that were built, and they were on cranes that got moved around.
And the rest were cutouts.
Yeah.
That's
lots of love for your work there, my friend. Deborah says, "Wow."
Yeah, that's incredible.
Tim talks all about it, and Zach saying Tim Dog. Yeah, man. Listen, this is the thing, man. It's like all about that. And do you do work like this, like commission work like this, graphic design work professionally or anything like that?
Well, no. I used to do wall murals a long time ago, and then regular life and bills and work had to kind of knock me out of it for a while. So I was always just doing it for myself, for a hobby's sake. And every now and then I get a piece I get asked to do, and I did one recently for the vac tube, that big long one that Daryl he's getting framed, and he had up behind his head there and on the green screen for a little bit. But it'll be back up soon, and that was the largest one I've done. But the last, like, I'll take commissions for sure. Anything that would actually eventually help towards my project.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
Because,
I'd love to have you give me a. I'd love something generic, like something that would just say, Kaijun in big letters, talk hard in smaller letters, and it's sort of like the 3 of us, but with all these different types of kaiju around us, because every year we'll do some sort of Kaijun tribute movie type stuff, something like that. Shock Hard would be another one, right? Different sharks, that kind of stuff. So it'd be kind of fun to see that kind of thing, and what that price tag looks like. So that's good, man. That's good, man. So any other specific Star Wars memory or anything like that you want to throw out there real quick, brother?
Okay, so I didn't get to see A New Hope and or Star Wars in theaters when it was in theaters, because I was 4 years old. So when 1980 rolled around and Empire came out, my grandma made it a big thing to go and see it Empire in the theater. And so this was Toronto, 1980. It was really crappy weather out, raining and all this kind of thing. And this was one of those like single 1 or 2 screen movie houses. And it was at Young and Bloor It's now the Pottery Barn building, and there's a couple of remnants left, like the poster box is still there, the window for the ticket sale is still there, but now it's just a Pottery Barn. And but then the lineup went from the front of the building around the back and then around and down the block into Yorkville. And we were down there for one whole showing, and we stood, my grandmother and me, we stood in the rain under an umbrella in crappy cold weather for a whole showing. And so when we got inside, we were really relieved, and Gran was on the edge of saying, "Hey, no, we'll go home." But Gran, it's opening day. And so we did that, and that was quite the memory, because once we were inside, once the movie started, she was all in and everything was great. We had popcorn and drinks, and we were lost. And I was already familiar with the story from all the merch. Like, I had the kids book that came with a record. You put it on the record player and you played along, and when you hear R2, do his chirp, you turn the page and off you went. So I was familiar with the first movie story. And then a couple of weeks later, got together with the rest of the family, my mom, my sister, and Gran again, and we went to the double feature, and I finally got to see Star Wars and then Empire. And of course, because mom and it was the first time for mom seeing it, but it was the second time for Gran. So like, shortly after Luke gets his hand cut off, Gran's like, "Okay, we know the rest. Let's get up and go." And I'm like, "Hell no!" Stay still. We're not going anywhere. Yeah.
Well, maybe next year, because next year, is the 45th anniversary for Empire. So maybe Empire will come back to theaters. So you can kind of relive that nostalgia moment, that first time experience, something like that.
Oh yeah, I want to. Like the last movie. The last movie I saw in theaters was Bumblebee.
Well, it's been a minute.
And I haven't seen anything since. Before that, it was TLJ. Yeah,
well,
it's been a minute.
sorry to hear that.
I used to go all the time. Like the one movie I've seen more than the one movie I've seen more than any other in theater was Terminator 2. Like we went like once a day, every day for the entire summer after the main run, because we had a small theater in the mall, and so it's $5 matinees. So we were bored. Let's go to T2.
That's awesome.
So
man.
yeah, I missed it. It was definitely a ritual. Yeah, it was definitely a ritual. I missed doing it. So yeah, if Empire comes back out, oh yeah, that's the plan. Yeah.
Well, brother, it's been great for you to chat with you, and thanks for coming up in here and sharing your story with us, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, man.
All right, talk to you soon.
Happy Star Wars Day.
See you, man.
Happy Star Wars Day to you. May the Force be with you.
One thing.
The cool lightsabers. I don't know, bro. I have I think I said earlier, it's in a bag in the top of the closet. I have a bag of, like, the 90s ones where they were hard and they flipped out. I have a whole bunch of those that, because the grandkids really aren't quite into it yet. So I've kept them because of that. But I don't have a bunch of lightsabers, and I've never figured out a way to justify some of the expense for some of the higher priced ones. They're not something you can play with, right? Because I'm afraid I'm going to break it. I'm going to spend $150 on this thing I'm going to break. So it's just, I don't know. So.
Well, the cool thing I was going to say, it's pretty neat that, and it's not just Star Wars, it's pretty much any fandom, but Star Wars in particular, it's pretty cool that you have things like this that will get people into a creative side of their life. Like, look at the drawing that he was just working on, right? Like, That's insane. And in the past, I remember as a kid, they really didn't sell a lot of like blasters. You know what I mean? Like when we were children, like that I remember, I didn't see them at the store or whatever, or they were all like had orange on them and everything. They didn't look like blasters. So I remember, we would just, me and my brother, being the little delinquents that we were, just took Nerf guns, painted them up black, and then made them look all chipped up. And it's like, oh, well, we made our own, Star Wars blasters like that. And that's what kind of got me into doing like model kits and stuff, was learning those little things. So I think it's just cool that it's something of your love of Star Wars can then thrust you into something like he wants to do filmmaking and other things. I just think it's pretty cool that, maybe without that, it wouldn't have led you down that path. So.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. This is another reason why I think it's criminal to let Star Wars' anniversary come and go without, saying so many filmmakers talk about being inspired by Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Where are they today? Where are they on Twitter blowing up, that today is the day that this all started. Like it's such a big deal to me. And yeah, we just don't get as much of that as I like to see. So Boosh is in the house. Your brother, one of the best names on YouTube. 92 outside. I mowed, I weeded, I fixed the compost, I cleaned the patio, and I'm drenched head to toe. Well, we are happy to have you having some Star Wars Day with you, my friend. Hopefully. Yeah. No. We're not doing that. So put those arms down. Take a shit. Go rinse off and turn on a Star Wars movie. Make sure you enjoy some Star Wars time with us hanging out for sure. So Matt is here. How you doing, brother? Hopefully you're doing well. Awesome to see you. So yeah, it's been interesting, because I grew up on this. It's been part of my life since I was a small child, then having my own children, and then having this new, because of the prequel series, like this boom of like going through it all over again. Because in the bottom of the box, the action figure box, like the top layer is my box, my stuff, and then the bottom are theirs, the Power of the Force ones, right? And it's really interesting seeing their reaction to that kind of thing. So yeah. Very good. So yeah, sit down and have a beer. Yeah, man, do what you gotta do.
Do you plan on watching any actual movies today? I mean, I know your day's been jam-packed doing this, but are you gonna sit down and watch any of the movies today? Or
well, today it's gonna be done. So what ends up happening? So May is because of what happened last year, and we had talked about this in 2022. I had a stream with Mags, and we talked about why May should just become Star Wars month. We had a hashtag Star Wars month for a while. It didn't take, right? But it was like, it's the anniversary of so many movies. It's George's anniversary. Even May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th. I'm fine. Okay, fine. It's an excuse to watch. And I do. During the course of the month, I'll watch many of the movies, or at least parts of many of the movies. I mentioned earlier that sometimes I'll watch like 30 to 40 minutes of one of them or something like that. We're doing Phantom Menace as our review, so I've watched it like 2 or 3 times over the course of the month. But today itself, because of all this, I don't really have enough downtime to do. But I've watched... of the 6, I've watched 3 of them at least twice, and then I've watched Phantom Menace a few times. I didn't watch Attack of the Clones again, and I watched Revenge of the Sith last year, like 2 or 3 times. That was the review that I did last year. But the main ones I've watched a couple. Actually, I was watching New Hope earlier this week, and then I got into a little bit of a little bit of Empire, but then I went right into Jedi and watched like 45 minutes of Jedi. I just jumped through the Dagobah trip. I skipped over some of that. So, but I love the Sarlacc pit. The Sarlacc pit to me is just, love it.
Oh yeah. See, and I love the original Sarlacc pit, and then the stuff that they add in, whatever, was okay, but the original one was pretty cool. So
yeah, I just skip over some of it, to be honest.
Yeah, just
I have the original. I have original discs, right? I have original stuff. I just pop those in. I don't watch. Yeah. I played Force Unleashed a couple weeks. Yeah, man, it's cool.
Oh,
yeah,
the games. Yeah. Angry Canadians, like you said, playing a bunch of those. So.
Oh, there you go. I definitely kind of have that feel, depending on who you talk to. I looked like the Emperor in the thumbnail on Loki's show when I was there on Thursday. I looked very much like the Emperor. It was quite disturbing. Don't know how I got to be the Emperor in this relationship, but it's fine. But yeah, I met him briefly. I don't think I ever really made a big deal about meeting him. It was like, it's okay. It's kind of cool to meet him. Meeting David Prowse was kind of like a stop you in your tracks kind of moment. He's such a huge, huge man. And he was old. He was a senior. And actually, if you watch that documentary, I started crying. Total fan nerd tears, Matt. I'm sorry to admit it.
No.
But in the documentary, he starts talking about going to Orlando and going to MegaCon. And I'm like, that's where I met him. And you're like, whoa.
So that's cool. The fact that
hits you in the feels, like whether he's talking about going to this show, and that was the show that I met him, and it was like, ooh. And it was just because he's gone now and stuff. You know what I mean? Or it's just one of those things where I don't think I met anyone else that kind of like hit me in the feels on kind of like that level in a way. Like it was just, I didn't know what to say because I know how estranged their relationship is with the Lucasfilm people and stuff like that. So I didn't know what to say to him, but it's just more like, just thank you for just being you and being a part of things and working hard and just bringing this villain to life and what you had to do with that, So yeah, it's crazy. It's a great documentary. I really should have done a review. Should have done it last year, but it's, time to do this. So yeah, it's good. What about you, man? You watch a movie today?
I might watch A New Hope later. Just because I haven't to be honest, like I said, the last movie, Phantom Menace and stuff, but before that, I've just kind of not wanted to watch anything Star Wars with all the stuff going on. I just needed a break from it all, just kind of get away from it and then not be so, because, like we said, it's always a lot of the negativity that's surrounding everything and the new stuff that's coming out. You just kind of, like, personally, I just need to have it away from me so that I can enjoy it again. Because if I constantly see what's going on, at least today, I just get more frustrated and I just don't want anything to do with any of it. So I kind of have to push myself away from all of it. And then it was nice to see the Phantom Menace again. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and that kind of reminded me of like, oh yeah, you love this stuff. Remember? Yeah. Like, yeah, it's like, this is because it reminded me so much of my childhood, and it's cool to, to be able to rehash that again. So I might either check out either New Hope or Strikes Back later. I'll probably throw in something just because it's the day to do it, especially. Yeah. Maybe I'll watch Clone Wars just because I had recently just watched one, and it's like, all right, I might as well just do the continuation. And okay. I don't know, I enjoy the prequels. I knocked on them for a while. Like, I loved them as a kid, then grew up and like, yeah, you see how goofy they are in some aspects, but I still love them. I always have, and I appreciate what they did. So,
yeah, same here. And I still think they have their flaws, they have their issues, but at the end of the day, they've aged very well. They've aged very well. So.
What doesn't, though?
Speaking of something that doesn't age well, this is not meant to be as hate as a brand or whatever, but this is one of these moments, and I have not shown Matt. No one's seen this yet. I've not shown this off, so sometimes you say and do something that comes back to haunt you. And let's just say I was reviewing one of their shows, and I thought this is one of the most disturbing elements, and no one is talking about it. And then sure enough, this just shows up in my life by someone who thinks it's really funny to taunt me by how awful this scene is. So this is actually modern. This is actually a giant Funko of Baby Yoda in Mandalorian eating the eggs. He's he's going for the egg chamber. This awful, awful concept of like he's eating other little organisms, like this cute little creature that you guys all treat as purse puppies is just eating the eggs of this species. Like, what is wrong with you people? Like, I couldn't get my head around it. I was so hung up on this. And yeah, sure enough, this sadistic individual, and he knows who he is. He got me this. So it's kind of like a gift thing. Like, I'm kind of trapped. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's
Lord, it's disturbing as all get out. So it kind of functions as kind of a quasi, it holds up books or I don't know. It exists in my life. I don't know. Maybe at some point I can regift it back to them. Maybe that's what
you should do one of those things where you send it back and forth for anniversaries and stuff and everything.
Maybe like a custody battle, like whoever has to hold the hot potato or whatever. So yeah,
I remember watching that. I was like, yeah, that was not good. That was
and like I said, more than anything else, it was because it was the dichotomy of the cuteness versus this wicked cannibal type side of it. Like this, I'm like, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. Is it just like this, or are you just not? It was just like something we just don't talk about. And sure enough, they made a Funko. Like, who would make a Funko? Why would you make a Funko of? I don't know.
They would make a Funko of anything if they could at that point, just because buy our stuff.
Scott says, going back, watching Clone Wars helped me appreciate the prequels more. Yeah, okay. Cool. I can't get into some of it, the Rebels Clone Wars stuff. I get why people like it. I don't mind it in small doses, but not on the scale of the love that people have of it. I love watching Rex and Cody and some of those things. Fine. I get it. The personalities come through, stuff like that. So
now I did hear that they're thinking of making a live action series of the Clone Wars. So that's apparently rumor mill going around. I mean, again, not bashing on anything new or whatever, but I think I've always personally wanted to see something like that in my, just like a Band of Brothers-esque series of like of things going on in the clone. I think that would have been incredible if it was done correctly.
So the best part of Ahsoka is the fake flashback sequence of the Clone Wars thing, right? That's the best part of the whole freaking show. It's the scene that doesn't matter. David Ayer did a film called Fury. It's a World War II film where they're in a tank. Brad Pitt.
That's David Ayer, right?
Let's do that Clone Wars.
First off, I think Fury is one of the greatest World War II films ever made, or war film, just because of how, I mean, it's a strong, I know, because Saving Private Ryan stuff, but the one thing I like about Fury, and not to get into that, is just the grittiness. It's a completely different feel, right? This is like, we're not, Saving Private Ryan, yes, still very, graphic and stuff, but it's very orchestra love and, like, you know what I mean? Like very Hollywood-esque, whereas Fury is gritty and the brutality of war. But to see can you imagine a Clone Wars show where it's gritty and dirty like that? And that would be insane. I would love that.
That's what I would do. So it's like that would be what I would do. Let's entertain that. Because you're using laser blasters, it doesn't have to be rated R because we don't have to have blood splatter, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're using blasters. But we can have the dark, gritty, the hopelessness, the heroism, the overcoming. We can have all that. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Not the right era for that type of project. I'm very skeptical, as you are, I'm sure, of most things. But we can just, like you said, Scott, go back and enjoy some of the original stuff and spin our wheels there. So, yeah, differing opinions. Yeah, I know. The whole eating the eggs, purse puppy stuff. It's a little strange, right? Matt, yeah, I know. KK, I know.
Would make a Funko of anything.
No, leave my Clone Wars alone. I know. Not mention the greatest film like Spaceballs the movie. Well, we didn't really, haven't really done a lot of the things on homages and parodies and things like that. So, but by the way, I will admit that did perpetuate our Star Wars love a little bit. Like the fact that there was such a brilliant parody that comes out. And then, of course, that does happen later on too, into the 90s, where you get Robot Chicken and some of the other stuff. Some of the
Family Guy. I
mean, it's so good. It's by people who love it. You can feel it. You can just really love it. So,
yep.
Yeah. No, I agree. She was great. She was great. Band of Brothers Clone Wars would have been great. Using some of the stories from the EU comics would have been awesome. Yeah, I know. If they could embrace that, it'd be incredible. So,
have you ever seen the fan film Bucketheads?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
They did some. It's similar. It's
similar to that, right?
Similar, but it's stormtroopers, and I think it's on. I want to say it's been a while since I've seen it. I think it was going on. It's like a battle on either Endor or something. I don't know, but it's essentially from the story of the stormtroopers. I think that's pretty cool too, just to kind of learn more about the a stormtrooper's point of view. Which that's what I really loved about. Like the potential of Finn had is like seeing it from the viewpoint of a stormtrooper, but I think
but it was there. They could have done it, and just didn't do it. Yeah, Hardware Wars is a great parody, phenomenal. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. So
I have not seen that. I'll have to check that out.
I think you can get it free on YouTube. I don't even think it's behind a paywall. I think it's just someone's got it uploaded. There's a ton of free Star Wars content on YouTube, by the way, guys. You could just find documentaries and some of these making of things and stuff like that. Tons of interviews. It really isn't that hard. You really haven't done. You didn't even ask for any commercials or anything, Matt. I think we should probably just.
Yeah, let's show them.
Let's find. We'll do some commercials here in a minute. That kind of. Any particular old action figures or something like that we should pay homage to? You're a Boba Fett guy, so let's find a Boba Fett. Let's find the OG Boba Fett giveaway. We'll do that one. Let's see what else we got handy. Something I haven't shown.
Any Vader ones too, I will absolutely take. And it's funny, I was watching your streams earlier, videos. I am definitely one that grew up saying AT-AT. I know that's weird.
Well, you're wrong now.
I know I'm wrong, but it's so weird when I first started hearing AT-AT, because those commercials and stuff in the original toys were way before my time. And then when I heard AT-AT, I was like, why is it called AT-AT? I'm like, that's odd. It's because it was always AT-ST, right? Like that's.
I know. I said on one of the shows, like, I understand the hypocrisy that we didn't call AT-8. We didn't know. Yeah. We called 8. We didn't. I don't even remember them being a thing. Like, I got to be honest. I know they came out with a figure. I've seen the commercial, whatever, but I don't remember anyone or like the ATST thing like being a thing. But everybody and their brother wanted an AT-AT. The AT-AT
because it was so over. Like those are so cool. I remember those were like that was the one. Like we had a bunch of Star Wars toys as a kid. We had the ATST, we had X-wings, we had TIE fighters and stuff. Never had the AT-AT, right? Never had it. And that's the one thing that I wanted because I was like, this thing is so monstrously insane. It's huge. Like, it's so freaking cool. Never got one, though. And I probably because it was like pretty expensive. But that was just one thing I remember Empire Strikes Back. When you see those things for the first time, you're like, holy crap. Like, it's just a monster. And yeah, so I think it was just ATSTs were overlooked.
Yeah, I have the UK one on that too, so we'll play that one too. Okay, well, let's see. Let's go. All right, let's do. Yeah.
Vader TIE Fighter on patrol. They got my solar panels.
From the Star Wars collection, batteries not included. And when you see the Star Wars movie at participating theaters, you get Kenner's cash refund booklet, good for refund coupons from 50 cents up to $2 each on 14 different Star Wars toys. Offer expires December 31st, 1979. Void where prohibited. Booklet has details. Star Wars Darth Vader TIE Fighter. New from Kenner.
That's so cool.
And so that's the booklet, or one of the booklets that Baron and I were talking about. So you're watching Baron's conversation with I, and he pulls out this booklet. So it's not the Sears catalog, it's these little booklets. So he has these extra booklets. I may get myself one of those booklets to reminisce about. And see, this is the kind of thing too, where I didn't have any close friends that had Vader's TIE fighters. I eventually got a real TIE, a standard TIE fighter, but I didn't have any friends who had a Vader one. So yeah, it's just one of those things where, some people had certain ones, certain other ones didn't. So I think I played this one on the morning stream, but we'll do it again because this is, I think, the mail-in giveaway for Boba Fett.
From Kenner's Star Wars collection comes the Stormtrooper, the Sand People, and all 20 action figures, including new Hammerhead, Snaggletooth, and more, each sold separately. And now, Boba Fett, Star Wars villain with his laser rifle. Boba Fett is not yet available in stores, but you can get him free with 4 proofs of purchase from any Star Wars action figures. Details on specially marked packs at participating stores. Offer ends May 31st. Star Wars action figures sold separately from Kenner.
She was so good.
So crazy.
You would go to a store and you would look at the back, because now it's part of the timeline of them is what's on the back of their cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many figures are there? So imagine that first, again, there was no internet, so you didn't know this was happening, right? You would just get to the store and you would get there and you would find they have new figures and you'd flip it over and you're like, and
yep.
So now you're trying to figure out how to find the ones you're needing and get them. And, it was just, and then I'll never forget the floor to ceiling experience of the first Toys R Us. So like the first time you go to Toys R Us and it's a floor to ceiling start. I mean, it was like your head, you're this little kid, your whole life. And you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, very similar to when, episode 1 came out, right? And Shadows of the Empire, that toy line came out, and you get it, you flip it over, and you're like, oh my god, like what is that? I need that. I need this right. I need the Naboo Starfighter. Like it was just so cool. Wanting all that stuff, and then running, and like you said, floor to ceiling to floor, all down the aisles. There were so many toys, and it's kind of sad what toys have become. Like kids don't care about toys anymore, and the internet, I think, did that, and iPads and stuff. But I don't see a lot of kids give 2 craps about toys anymore. They just.
Yeah, I would recommend. I know this is not what they would want to do. You guys in chat can tell me if I'm totally crazy. Pops is in charge of Star Wars Tomorrow, right? And we would talk about films like David Fury. Get him on the phone. Clone Wars Project. That's what we're gonna do. Has to be PG-13 because there's blasters. We don't have to make it rated R, but we need to be hardcore. But I want the toys licensing on my desk. I want to know who has rights to what and how can we get out of it so we can control and we can create an event again. We need to create an event release again. Not saying we're going to cancel things. Don't worry, Lego people. You guys are its own thing, right? But when I drop a toy line, what if I were to drop a toy line that you can't get online? You have to go to a store. You know what I mean? These are the ones you go to the stores. These are limited. You know what I mean? That's what can work. It's event driven and not $10, $20 toys anymore. We got stuff for kids. We got stuff kids can destroy.
Yeah.
Stuff kids go play. Yeah. All right.
Not collectibles.
Well, it's okay if it's collectible. It's just we're going to mass produce those.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna mass produce these generic figures, and then we'll have collectible ones. But these mass produced ones, we're gonna make millions of these, and we're gonna like $5 ones, right? These kids can have these and tear them out. Yeah, we need to get them in, and then you have scales, right? So, Low Spec is here. Hey, brother, good to see you. Good to see you. Not a lot of love for prequels. Phantom Menace got on nostalgia. Don't like Disney Star Wars. However, I really enjoyed a bunch of video games. Cool. By the way, Bush, if you haven't seen it, and maybe still going on, Pacific 414. I should have links in the chat. Sorry if I got them wrong or missed some. YouTube is not great about tagging all the time. Sometimes it'll work quickly. Sometimes it doesn't. Pacific 414 is gaming. Angry Canadians gaming like for hours. BG Ronnie G is doing some stuff. So make sure you check out their channels if you can as well for that. A lot of fan dub Star Wars stuff. Yes, very good indeed. Yeah, there's Robot Chicken stuff here. Other stuff there. Death Star. Yes, great stuff. So, okay. Yeah, 8 AT-AT's full-size grown dog. Yeah, it was crazy, huh? It was nuts. Chicken Walker. Yeah, I know. And then I called them AT-ATs because ATs don't sound. AT sounds fine. ATs don't. Yeah, I know. All right. So, for you think I'm crazy, because I know there's probably at least one person who's missed one of the shows, or you're going to watch this a year from now or 10 years from now. Pops. It's not. It's called an AT-AT. Blah blah blah. Fact check.
It's new AT-AT, the all-terrain armored transport from Kenner. Batteries not included. Action figures each sold separately. You can make AT-AT walk. Its legs are big enough to crush obstacles. You can move AT-AT's head and pretend to scan for rebels. AT-AT has a cockpit for Imperial Commander and AT-AT driver and laser machine guns. When you push a button to fire the laser cannons, you activate battle lights and sounds. There's even a troop compartment. New AT-AT from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.
That thing is so freaking cool.
I mean, as a kid, your brain.
As an adult, I'm like, I want that. Like, I still want it. It's so cool.
9-year-old seeing that for the first time, what our brains were like. I mean, you
just
thought the Millennium Falcon was cool. Then you see that, and you're like,
yeah, and the idea, like, just all the concepts that you could, like, oh my God, all the missions that I can do with that, and that's what I was talking about with the toys of kids. Like, we grew up with imaginations because we kind of had to at that point, right? Like, that's all you had. And now there was really not, especially, I mean, I know you and myself, like, we really didn't grow up with the internet came out, what was that? Like, right around the 2000s, AOL.
Well, yeah, it was bigger in the 2000s, but in the 90s it started, but it really didn't get you where you wanted to be. It's really, closer to the late 90s before you started to get into like search engine stuff and things.
Yeah. Like I have a box of specific GI Joes, and I remember fondly of all the little missions and things that I did with those GI Joes. Like I remember, and that's how they like. I show my daughter, and she's like, "They're just GI Joes, whatever." But you don't understand the things that we did with the like the missions and the stormtroopers and everything that we did with those. Like they'll never know, and it's today kids don't have that, and I think a lot of it, like I think Boosh or somebody said it in the chat. It's like adults are buying toys now, and the only way I think for that to continue on with the generations is. It's kind of passed on. I feel like you got to hand it down. Like if the parents are involved and really care about Star Wars, they're gonna buy their kids the stuff that they enjoy because that's just how it goes, And I don't think the more people, if they start losing focus on that, their kids are they don't want that. So right. I don't know.
Boosh, I don't think they call it anything. I think they just call them walkers.
They did call them just walkers.
The making of thing where they show you the stop motion of it, I think all the creators call them walkers. I don't think they call them by their all-terrain transport vehicle thing. They don't use any of the nomenclature. So, and yeah, I know, but I need to do a thing on that guy because the Kenner guy is a large part of our life. I could just hear his voice.
That voice, yeah.
Yeah, that announcer, yeah. No, I know. No, he did not. I'm sure he's fine. So, just in contrast, we'll show. This is a UK commercial. I didn't see the US one. It's in the. You have to understand this. These folders have like just these millions of these little video icons. It's not like they're compartmentalized very well. I probably should do that, but how do you do that? How do you take a bunch of action figure commercials and organize them? All right, here you go.
Return of the Jedi. The Scout Walkers attack. The walking, fighting Scout Walker prepares to attack. This great Star Wars model has walking action, push-button controls to stand and attack. The Scout Walker can fight his own battles, his own wars. But will he? Only you can decide with Star Wars toys.
Scout Walker. See, they don't even bother. They're not trying. So this is part of what's fun about fandom is we can have these nerd out moments. We can debate things like names and things like that. So, and for those of you that have asked, because I know I did a little members thing about copyright and whatever, it's 50-50 that if that gets flagged or not, because it does play music like that. Because it depends on if that is not edited from the original material or not. I don't remember. As a commercial, it's fine, but sometimes if they're playing like a straight thing, it just depends on how much there is. So that one becomes at risk of having a little claim put against it, just so you guys know how that worked. So, yeah. So let's see. Remember watching G.I. Joe and thinking, how did they get lasers? Star Wars had lasers. Oh, It's Transformers too. We did a little thing on Transformers, the movie, where there's literal like lifts out of Star Wars. Like it's crazy. The Han, Luke, and Leia parallel and a couple other things for sure. 100%. Yeah, Netscape in 94, Boosh, but was it the problem is there wasn't a lot of infrastructure for you to go see things. So there really was like static website pages for fans maybe, but it wasn't really a thing yet. It took a little while for some of that to work, and until Google came along. Google was really the first one to roll out like the phone book concept. Like you could go just look things up and go find it and stuff. So I probably missed some. Okay, so surefire way to get a kid shopping with mom. If you're good, we'll go to the toy aisles, kids. Yeah. Bush, 100%. I mean, I said the kids on this planet have never been better, ever, than they were in the year of 1978. Just saying. If you don't get that reference, I don't want to tell you. But I guarantee you, Matt, that's the best behaved group of boys in the history of the planet between November and December of 1978.
But yeah, if you wanted those toys or you didn't want to, you wanted to go see the movies or anything, you better.
100%. I mean, the toys were coming. The toys were finally in catalogs. And
I can only imagine what Christmas was like.
Yeah. In Bush, and I don't know that I've addressed this a lot, but I will say again, part of the reason is we don't teach our kids to care about their toys. My kids have grown now, and like we've trained them up. So it's not working with their toys, but they are appreciating my toys. So when my grandson comes and they want to play with the 89 Batmobile, they ask for the Batmobile. They carry it like this. They play with it on the floor like it's supposed to. They're not crashing it, throwing it, flipping it. They're bringing it back. There's a Spider-Man Halloween bucket behind me. He's back there. He's a little hard to see right now. Little man will come in here and he asks what he can put in the Spider-Man bucket, and he'll carry around stuff in his little Spider-Man bucket, and he'll bring me the Spider-Man bucket back. So it's a lot about us teaching them and stuff and playing with them, how to play with them. I've been teaching them how to play because they have like 12-inch. They have a whole set of Spider-Man, right? That's what he's into, right? So they have Spider-Man, Goblin, Doc Ock, whatever. And teaching them how it's not about just like slamming them into each other. It's about like, they fly and they shoot webs. And what would he be doing? And showing him the cartoon. Let's act that out. So tapping into the imagination that you said, perfectly said earlier, like that was what we did. That's what we did.
That was the same thing with my kiddo. Like a lot of my toys, the original Ecto-1 that I have, like the old Jurassic Park toys that I had, like I handed those to her when she was and said, "Hey, these are you have to take care of these," and she did, and she played with them, and she to this day, like, so I have my own memories of them, and now even like we'll go through some stuff and look, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember playing with the Ecto-1 or the T-Rex or whatever, or the old Stormtroopers that I had," and she has her own memories with them, and then like I said, it was respecting them, right? Not just, oh, we're taking a GI Joe and going, no, we don't do that. Like we play with them and we enjoy it so that they last. That's how I was able to hand this to you, because they at the time, especially, they don't make this anymore. So, but
Dempsey is here. Oh boy, do I have a gem for you guys whenever we're not doing Star Wars stuff. Dempsey has given me a treat among treats. Dempsey, please send me that email. Also to clarify, like what you did or not do, or who credited for doing it. So I don't speak out of turn. I think I spoke out of turn when I was sharing it with my son privately, but I want to make sure I shared that. Yeah, Dempsey sent me a surprise, and it's going to be epic. It's epic. Yeah, big billboard at first, just random stuff. You just kind of had to know where to go and find things for sure. Things like that Star Wars magazine could put a website in there, Matt. Like you said, we were talking about stuff finding, you know what I mean? So we could find something that way maybe, but this magazines was our lifeblood. They were our lifeblood. Oh, did I miss Watto? He is here. He is here. He is here. Okay. I can't do justice to the Watto backstory. All I can say is I know at one point I mocked where we were with some of the shows, Matt, and I said something at this point we should just do shows on, and I made a pitch on why we should have an Ula show, and then I said we should have a Watto show. Why not? Let's have a Watto show. God. So Nos has never let me forgive that. Never it's lived on. So I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. I mean, I'm not sure what the final version will look like. Here's what I saw. After years of Star Wars fans getting exactly what they wanted, seeing heroes rise, heroes fall, heroes rise again, they can now get the true story of a character that they've all been clamoring for.
Did I ever tell you about Watto?
I have a promise to keep to an old friend.
Well, hurry back!
Yes, a being so powerful that he can stand face to face with a Jedi.
Thing of which, how's he gonna pay for all of this?
He can effortlessly turn away the powers of the Force.
What, you think you're some kind of Jedi waving your hand around like that?
Strong determination will now finally come to the screen sometime soon.
Wait for me!
Watto.
You know, I wouldn't put it past them to actually make a story or make a series about him.
All right, now so you can let me know how I did. We'll see what you guys think, if we're going to see that project move forward or not. So we'll see. 7-year-old plays with all those toys. Good, good. Teach them how to do it right. Teach them how to do it right. So that's right. Respectful. That's right. Okay, Padawannabe. Disappointment of getting a nobody figure because you have all the other figures on this rack, but not going to say no to an action figure. Imperial Officer, Indoor Soldier. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like what's some of the worst figures? So maybe we can cycle back around to that if you guys want, for sure. I tried to get my niece into Lego. She liked my building. I did too. She could play with the set. Cool. Very cool. Nephews are video games. Yeah. Yeah, they love the games for sure. Ewok stuffed animal. Yeah, cool. That was one of Max's favorites. I think she still has one. She's all into that. So smell bad, plastic. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Oh my God, I love this. There you go, Nos. I'm glad I made you happy. It will. I will drop it for members. It'll be on the member. It'll move from this to the member pile. So you have Nos. You got to promote it as being behind the member benefits. I'm not sure that I would be the right person to promote the love that Watto should have in the fandom. So, yeah. Why did you go somewhere? I know, just go somewhere else. So, yeah, I'm doing my best. Here we go. So Watto, I was, if I had, I don't know. I wish I had done a little more time or thought this through a little better. I probably would have done more like the Star Wars Day logo you see behind this and done a Watto one, but it's fine. Greenlight the project. Yeah, that perfect. So, thank you, Dempsey. I just want to make sure I speak out of turn about who plays what and does what, so I can do that. So. We were talking about some of this stuff earlier. I wanted to just show you guys some of the OG stuff. This is I'm not opening them up. I don't know what kind of condition that they're in. So this is not original from me, but I had them and then I bought them again since. I bought them uber cheap, so they are not in great condition. This is actually a poster book. So
wow.
It's like you open it up and there's like posters, you unpack them or whatever. So, but I had this, of course. Took it apart, hung them on the wall. with thumbtacks, I'm sure. Yeah. So have that one. And again, you're gonna laugh because I found this at like a garage sale or a flea market or something. I paid. Are you ready? I paid $1.
Oh
For a
wow,
Lucas book. Look at that. Time magazine. Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
If anybody knows how to get a hold of Steve Polwart, you might have wanted it back. I've got it. I've got it.
That's funny.
Man. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned earlier, the magazines and stuff, and I remember. Do you remember the old Wizard magazines? I don't. It had toys and it gives you comics and all that stuff, like the cost. And
it was originally supposed to be a comic book price guide.
Yeah,
and it just turned into a PR machinery.
Yep.
So, but yeah, 100% love Wizard. Wizard was super high. It was driving the market for sure. Mm-hmm.
I remember one of them specifically that I had on the cover had the AT. I'm calling it AT. Had the AT on there, the toy, and I was like, man, that is so freaking cool. But that was one other thing too, where you could see, and that was where you could list off like, okay, this character, this character, this character. Oh, I don't have this one. I could, like that. That's another thing too. I think kids are missing are like hard, like magazines. Like I loved those kind. Yeah, like talking about the Star Wars Galaxy, like these types of magazines, the Nintendo Powers, right? Like, Matt, this is what got us excited for new stuff coming out. Like, yeah, it's cool to go to a website or whatever, but having this physical, book in hand was just so awesome. And you took it to school and you showed your friends, and I don't know. I just think we're missing out on like the youth, especially, are missing out on a lot of that stuff because of everything being digitalized.
Dempsey, I need to look a little like a 10-second little transition for this so I can do it. It's got to be sweet sounding, kind of like Sesame Street. It's like parenting tips from Pops, like that kind of thing, right? Yeah. When they're into something, just get them the stuff. So my grandson's into trains, so I went online. I found a bunch of train magazines. Did I overpay for those train magazines? Probably. But you know what? He has physical magazines that he's allowed to take with us when we go places, and he's reading. And his vocabulary now, he is so far off the chain with the vocabulary because he's been reading these literal news stories, Matt, of like train accidents and his vocabulary is. It was like me, like as a kid, right? Because I could read the Star Wars novelization at age 7. That's disturbing for parents. I had parents who did not know what to do with a child that could read that. Well, that's kind of how my grandson is. He's like 9, and he's just like, yeah. So you do that because it does what you said too. It gives them that physical magazine feel that they didn't have before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 100%. So my brother-in-law had a huge Star Wars fan, huge collection. It's looked after by his daughter, and because he's passed, he even had the at Matt. Just
yeah, I know. Comment. I know.
That puppet looks more real than prequel and the Abomination from Mando.
Oh God.
Star Wars 3, laugh out loud. Even Times couldn't figure that out. Yeah, I know. Well, it I don't know when this dropped. Let me see what the date. No, the date is May 23rd. Seriously, no. They just didn't want to put everything in there like that. Oh, it's funny too because I don't have them handy. I looked for them and I couldn't find them, but I have, and maybe I can find them, post them for members or something too, because you can listen to like the original like news stories of Star Wars, and it's like they mispronounce names and they don't. I think it's Princess Leia. I don't think it's Princess Leia in one of them, and yeah, it's funny. It's funny. IT. Who has the time to say 2 extra syllables? It's AT. I know. Listen, I don't know what to tell you guys. Dempsey, it's in the commercial. I played it. Yeah, I don't tell you guys. They're in their Bratz dolls. Got her severed head. Very nice. Okay, I don't know what to say to that, Boosh. Look at that, Boosh throwing down the emojis. All right, yeah, I don't know what to say. So it's good, man. It's good. Yeah, I don't know. I've had a hard time getting the grandkids really into it. They like parts of it, but I have no shame. I have stuff for them to bust open, Matt. The whole experience. So I literally have like Disney Star Wars. Like it's over there. It's like a ship with the figure to open it up, put it together, put the stickers on it, the whole experience. And I'm waiting for that day where that becomes a project that they want to do. Not yet.
Well,
G.I. Joe's a hot thing now, so I think I'm going to get the G.I. Joe Rattler. I saw a G.I. Joe Rattler for sale, so I think I'm going to get the G.I. Joe Rattler and see if that will work.
Yeah, I remember too as a kid, like I thought, and I think you mentioned this earlier on a stream about the time period, like the Lego Star Wars didn't start coming out until like the Clone Wars or something, right?
Attack of the Clones, 2002. Yeah. I didn't even know that. So kudos to Bobby. We both knew who Bobby is, Bobby Wold.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me some Lego stuff, and in there was like this Lego encyclopedia thing, and it has like a timeline of release. And I'm like, wait, it wasn't Phantom Menace, it was Attack of the Clones. Well, I did not know that. So yeah, it was that 2001 into 2002 era when they started dropping Lego stuff. So yeah.
And I always thought the cool thing about Star Wars with Legos was that like if you had like an X-wing, or I remember my cousin, he had all the Lego pod racers, right? Mm-hmm. So the cool thing is you play with them, and I mean we saw what happened in the pod racers. They would basically get destroyed, and the cool thing was Legos, you just basically just smash them and then just rebuild them because they really weren't that big or insane. So not like smash them on the ground, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. They crash and you put them back together. I guess.
Yeah, and then you show your little Lego guys like, oh, he's rebuilding it and stuff. So I think that was a genius idea to get Star Wars in the Legos, because then you could do those things. Because you can't, if you had a big TIE fighter, you can't. I mean, yeah, they blew the sides blew off and things like that, but you can't really crash them. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, Lego in general is massive, let alone Star Wars stuff. So
yeah, but I mean, I tell you that I did some of the research with my son too, and he was explaining, and we looked at Marvel stuff, Harry Potter stuff, and things like that. But Star Wars is just, it dominates Legos, man. It's insane. Yeah, just, I mean, it's balling out Lego stuff. So to be fair, Lucas called them laser swords. Well, yeah, at some point. But yeah, it evolves. So got the niece in the MCU, watched all up to Captain Marvel. She loved those movies. Yeah. I don't rewatch that, but you could watch a few more. Sure. Yeah, Stego, it is. It's still huge. It's still massive. It's nuts. My son was out shopping May 4th, I believe, looking for one in particular. Like, I wonder if I can get this on a deal. Like he was looking. Yeah. So
I just don't understand with Lego why they don't re-release stuff.
Oh, it keeps the collectability going. Please don't listen to Matt. Do not ever do that, Lego. No. Keep the exclusivity. Just do a different variation of the character. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. It is exactly what fans really do want. They want to make the 1977 Luke Skywalker figure look a certain way, and then the Power of the Force one. I don't like all the relaunches and all that because they look too. I think people can get confused and they can be cheated and whatever. And I think the fact that they can just be, there's little nuances that are different. Literally, it could just be the color of their hands that are different. I mean, I get it. So I think Lego figured that, yeah, scarcity and value. Like it's just, at some point it's like, and it's the FOMO, right?
Yeah.
I actually don't think, I think Lego would be better served also by talking about like a print run, talking about like how many there are in a production, maybe like, like X amount, or like they do a little bit about retirement dates, but it's not always clear. But there's a massive run. I saw this just recently with one I actually had. I picked up a couple of the Hoth sets, and they were retired. They had a retirement time, and then it just kind of happens. They don't. It wasn't really well produced or put out there. It just happens. So
yeah, I'm looking up now, and if you want, I was just Googling just to see like Lego Pod Racer, what comes up, and it's a dual kit. It's Anakin's and Sebulba's Pod Racer together in one kit, $480.
Still new? Still new in the box, yeah.
I guess it's new. Yeah, it's off of Amazon, so it's someone selling it off at the Voyager USA is selling it, but that's insane.
Yeah, if it's the 2002 era, many of them, if you find that they're still new and sealed in the box, at this point they're just new and sealed in the box. They're the first runs. It's the equivalent of a 77 stuff. And some of the stuff, I gotta be honest, and some stuff's not that expensive. I think part of it is there is a storage issue, right? Because I think Scuba Pete was talking about the original Death Star in a box, the original Death Star toy, whatever, like between $250 and $400. It sounds like it should be worth more than that, but I'm like, yeah, but you have to figure out where to store this thing. It's a massive box. Like this isn't like every one of their brother is going to want to have a warehouse full of Death Stars. They're just too. There's just, you know what I mean. It's a problematic or item to have. So
yeah, last year me and the kiddo went to a little Lego convention by us. I mentioned it to you, and someone bought the Death Star for about $500-600.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it was I was like, holy crap, like that's insane. Yeah. But I mean, it's such a huge kit,
massive.
Oh, it was huge.
Yeah, but it seems like it would be even more.
Yeah, I figured it would be like 1,000 for as big of it is, and all the pieces. I'm like, I guess that's kind of a steal. And considering, I think it was. I mean, obviously it was retired, but it had been retired for quite some time. Like. Yeah. Hasn't been out for a while.
Some of these have limitations, and then, but again, like the Millennium Falcon is another version of Millennium Falcon by Lego. Like they're just different ones. Mm-hmm. That's another reason why I think they do their retire, because they're numbered. Remember, they all have numbers, set numbers. The issue with the Lego people are that stop releasing the minifigures. Stop saying you're going to like not release them and then put them in another set later on. Just don't do that anymore. So that kind of thing. So. Both those Lego sets, of course, not in the box. Yeah, no, I understand. I don't have stuff in box. I mean, I have a few things in boxes, but I have small scale. I'm not a Lego guy first. I would definitely look at that market. And if you guys want an investor tip on something like that, take a look at some Lego stuff, because there's some Lego stuff that's Star Wars Legos, not a bad investment. You know, it's got a kind of a timeline on it. It's not like a normal stock or something. It's got like more of a slow burn, but ooh, this stuff's crazy. So, but yeah, the space would be part of that. So
yeah,
the prequels came out, started moving away from toys, didn't get the Legos, and yeah, I got it, man. Oh, I totally understand. Little Boba with the carbonite, hand in the box though. Yeah, cool, very cool set. Yeah, some of them are a fortune. The new Destroyer droid looks cool. Yeah. Super billionaire buys up all the world's collectibles and opens the boxes
on a live stream.
That would be Loki.
Just cuts all the boxes. Oh, like there was a video of this collectible. I think it was like a statue or something of maybe Princess Leia or something. I don't know. It's like one of the real collectible type of figurines or whatever. And the guy's just ripping the box open and like. Making, like, if you were a collectible fan of anything like that, you know how those boxes are treated. They're also treated like gold, and he's just destroying them. And it's the comments were just people like wanting to throw up watching this guy do that. But I mean, some people are.
There's
like
a comic book store guy, and he has this segment that he'll do where they put a comic book through a shredder, and it stresses me out. It's a weird gimmick thing that they do, and then they sell the shredded book. Like you can buy like the bag. It's like they shred the book, and it's like you can get the bag, and it's just this weird thing. But I got to be honest, it'd be a really good gag though. Like somebody had like, you know, the static goes sideways, and they hold up it's like Action Comics graded 8.5. If I do not get $10 million by midnight tonight, zip, this will go in flame. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know. I could see someone doing it though.
It'd stress me out, man. Yeah. Yeah. The Star Destroyer, there's a 100-pound box. Yeah, that's the one that comes in multiple boxes, right? Yeah. There's a couple that are like that. Andy, 6 totes of Legos. Oh yeah, man. I tell you what, this stuff's worth a fortune, bro. I'm at the point now where we're trying to find loose pieces to finish. That's how the Vader head got fixed. The Vader head's right here. He got fixed when my son-in-law went through the box of black to find the pieces that were missing from the back of the head, and you guys can't see, it's off camera. My at is right over there. His toes and his feet need to be fixed. I gotta make sure I have all the pieces. And then at some point, I'm like, Andy, I'm gonna like bag them up and be like, they sell them by the pound. You can buy Legos by the pound, like bag of red, bag of mixed, bag of plates. Just they sell it literally. People want like, and I'm included. Andy, if you ever want to get rid of them, I'd be more happy to talk to you, because my son and I would be possibly so. Gave them to the family or friends. 12-year-old cousin has 2 tubs. Yeah, I'm all about it. It's good stuff, man. A lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun to do with the grandkids. Put them stuff together. So, yeah, she comes with new stuff. Yeah, no, I love watching them make stuff with Legos. It's the best. It's so much fun. Where's your to? Thank you, Bush. I don't have an ATST. And I know I'm a hypocrite with how I pronounce things. I've owned it, Bush. Cannolis in the house.
What's up?
Nobody's in the house. I know we're down the last 20 minutes. I will throw one last time. If any of you guys want to come up in here for a few minutes, do that one more time. So, yeah, that was good.
Well, and what's cool about Legos too is it can get them into model building, like I mentioned earlier. So I have a handful of models that I still need to build. I have a X-wing, couple TIE fighters and stuff. And then you can get into, just besides that, building them and painting them, then you can get into like diorama making, you know what I mean? And go on to that, which that's so much fun if you have the patience to do it, which I don't feel like anybody anymore does.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up. It's like you're reading my mind because I have photos for you. So keep going.
But no, I used to do, well, I still do them, but that's not as much anymore. Like, I grew up on like NASCAR models and things like that, or just old car models, but then planes and everything else and all that. And I love the Star Wars model. So that's why I said I have a couple. I have a ATST that I want to build. I have a couple X-Wings and stuff. And then see, look at that. That's
freaking insanity. This is Bobby's dioramas he shared with me this year. I didn't do a video. This is right here. We're gonna clip this, but this is a Star Wars. This is a stormtrooper wedding with a stormtrooper on the wall, which I cannot approve of at all.
No.
Obviously, it's some sort of orthodoxy because he has like a purple scarf around. Look at this, watching in the background. Yeah.
It's got obvious lights and look at the walls. That's pretty cool.
It's insane. Isn't it beautiful? How does it, can you guys see it okay? Make sure it's big enough. Yeah, it's plenty big enough. Here, I'll make it full size. You guys can see.
That's pretty freaking wild.
All right, watch this. Look at this. All lined up, picking out people to buy. That's incredible, isn't it? Look at that.
That's pretty freaking sick.
Yeah. Look at this guy. Vader's walking the dog in front of some sort of Imperial guy. This guy's over here running the controls, and this guy's up here floating. It's like, what on earth?
I just like the walls. Like, what did he use for the walls? That's,
I know, it's like a bar. He's got a bar going on here, a full bar with bikers and people handing out snacks, and
that is freaking wild.
I know. Who popped in? I heard somebody pop in. Make sure we let. Oh, Matt's here. Hey, Matt, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Pops, and hey, fellow Matt, how you doing?
What's going on, brother?
Yep. Nothing much. It's Star Wars Day. I should say it's real Star Wars Day. You know what I mean? This whole, like, what was it, May 9th or whatever Disney's pushing is irritating, you know? And it's just like, you guys are talking about, like, I hate to say it, but I've been so black-pilled on Star Wars and Marvel that I can't get it. It's hard to get enthusiasm about it. Like I used to, you know, especially, like, I love the original trilogy, obviously. I thought the prequels were okay. They had the good points and bad points. I really love Rogue One. I used to be a big fan of the old Legends EU before they stupidly murdered Mara Jade. You know, I really like the Clone Wars. There's a lot I like, but then I think, you know, maybe I'll watch a movie. Nah, I just can't. Like, it just, you know, I'd rather. You know.
Today's a lot about the orthodoxy, though. It's a lot about the orthodoxy. Yeah. Well, we'll sit down and just have a smile with this. We're gonna keep going through this. Look at this. And look, we're gonna leave Bobby. We're leaving your comment up. That's what I'm gonna do. See how you do? You roll like that. I'm gonna use it against you. This diorama guy's a hack. It's not. Look at this trash compactor nonsense. That's crazy.
Pretty wild.
Is it actually a fireplace type of thing, or
I don't know what he used.
That is a small fireplace. Like, you'd actually put a fire in that. It's like a firebox. Yeah. There's a vent in the background. Yeah.
Look at this one.
Yeah.
The reactor.
And the reactor with Obi-Wan here. Different droids on little platforms.
And that's the cool thing, too, about 3D printers now. If you really want to get into model making and stuff, you can, you know, back in the day, sometimes you couldn't find, like, oh, man, I wish this, that. If you have a 3D printer and a solid one, you can make freaking, like, anything anymore. There's schematics that people have made for all kinds of stuff. So
okay, Bush saying
there you go.
Could be a microwave.
Bobby just said 3D printed walls.
3D printed walls. 3D printed walls.
Speaking of 3D printing, I'm opposed to the mass AI stuff going on, but the combination of AI and 3D printing, like, everyone's going to be making their own stuff now. Like you don't like a Star Wars toy, make your own. You know, You know what I mean? It's going to be like such a transformational like thing. And
so what you're saying is there's going to be a line of Pops as different Star Wars figures, possibly. Like I could just be you take the helmet off the Stormtrooper and it's Pops, and then it's like
well I don't
Pops
know if
is
you
the pull the robe down. It's Pops like a whole Hawk Hard line.
It's Pops Patine,
Pops Patine could be. Let's keep going with the diorama though, because we'll make sure we get through them all. Look at this. I cannot believe how good this is, my friend. You're selling. Look at Vader's helmet. Like it's
like the electric.
It's being electrified. Yeah,
it's translucent, like in the movie. That's wild.
Isn't this great?
Yeah,
Bobby, you're very talented, my friend. I don't know if I was supposed to show that one or not, but I love the scale because look at the size of the ATST.
That's insane.
That's the Emperor's secret weapon, a gigantic woman set to attack the rebels. It's like Attack on Titan, Attack on the Rebels.
I got you. Okay. Matt, Andy said, trash compactor, my son's 3 3/4, put bolts and they close the wall. Wow, cool. Laser cutters. Do a good job for some light panels. Very good.
So if you guys are into model making, there's this YouTuber. I just put the link in the chat. You don't have to pull it up, Pops, but he does all kinds of models, but there's a lot of Star Wars models in there. He uses like lighting and stuff. So if you guys are into that stuff and you want like techniques, he breaks it down. His videos are really freaking good, but his stuff is insane. Like he has an AT-AT. Sorry, guys. Literally,
we'll
like
eventually
busting and like exploding in half, and it's all lit up and it's wild the stuff that he can create. But
you are familiar with Andy's work, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Isn't
he makes the action figures? And
yeah, he makes like I've seen
these YouTubers
like Doomcock and all them. Yeah,
it's insane. I need to have you back on, Andy. I got to figure out how to connect with you. Maybe we can do an update and just catch you.
I don't know if you guys.
He's so talented. It's incredible.
I'm not sure if you guys have gone looking for this, but I kind of have sometimes. There's a huge like market of clearly unlicensed material being produced, like for everything. You can go on Amazon and find like Bill from Tennessee's, die-etched enterprises or whatever. You know what I mean? And like I think there's so much of this small niche products. Like not that the product itself is niche, but that there's like one guy in Wyoming with his 3D printer making 15 Battlestar Galacticas a year that it's not worth suing him over.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so much of it out there. And the sad thing is, a lot of it, like I was if I had the money, which I might have in the next few months, I got good news off the air for you, Pops. I'll tell you off the air. I saw these like hundreds of dollars, like solid metal. It looked like they were laser cut of all replicas of like the original Galactica, the new Galactica, Star Wars stuff. Star Trek, like starships. They're like this big. Not the cheapo little 6-inch toys they sell now. That are like aluminum at best, and they're clearly not licensed. You know what I mean? But I want them. I don't care.
Let's say hey to Claude. Claude's here. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Matt, I couldn't agree more because Etsy is just chock full of just stuff that should be licensed. Like when we were going to Disney, I wanted a holder for my little chip. You have these little chip, these little band thing. You could take the circle out of the band and use that as your ticket, your thing, right? Well, I didn't want something generic, so I actually went on Etsy and someone had taken a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea Nautilus, and they shaped that and they made it so that the little circle could go in. So I have a Nautilus Disney band thing holder that I got on Etsy. Like it's just that kind of stuff. Like who would think of doing that? In Disney? There's no market for Disney to make thousands of these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for one nerd like me and this person that made it, right? Same thing with like Redbubble, where I had some T-shirts made of like anything you can think of with these T-shirt companies that do these prints. Some nerds like us have come up with these ideas. So if you're a big fan of like some of the off movies, Matt, you should just go to like these T-shirt things like Redbubble. Just put in the thing, because I know how much you love something like that. The Big Trouble Little China, that kind of stuff, and just look at the images, the stickers, the T-shirts, whatever. Oh, it just warms your heart that this stuff can exist. I think it's great. So,
yes, I was looking around Etsy on and off over the past year because I don't know if it's all going to work out, but if it does, I'll be in a new, better apartment without I won't have a couch shelf behind me anymore, and and I want to get a 3D printer. And I found plans. Like I've been looking around for a statue of this guy. This is Kurama from Naruto. I don't know if you can see him or not. He's a tiny little guy here. And I want a statue of him that's like 2 feet tall. Like I have some Godzillas that are that big. Nowadays, like $300, but back in the day, were like 50. And I can't find it. So I want to get a 3D printer and start making my own stuff because I want my own. I want stuff that I want, not someone's half rear job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gotcha.
And it's like that to me is the fun thing about it. You know, if I'm gonna make my life as enjoyable as I can within reason with stuff I want, not someone's knockoff product. I mean, like Disney's crappy. I don't know, when they mass produce all these horrible toys no one wants. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's not just them. I don't want to throw them under the bus, and we're not going to bash them today because it's all the toys right now. There's so much mass produced. Trust me, all you gotta do is go do a video of me walking around Ollie's. It's not just them.
It's not that they're mass producing.
So much stuff, and they're just so badly made. They're sculpted bad. They have this cool articulation, and some of them are really cool, but not like as a line. It's usually like one figure here and one figure there. So, has the 3D printing affected the market? I don't really think so. I don't think so at all.
I'm not complaining about the mass producing. I'm complaining about the no one wants. You know what I mean?
Correct. Well, they go hand in hand. Yeah, I got you. Because everyone go over to Angry Canadian today while he's game streaming. Ask him if he can get a picture with the Shang-Chi toy. Molly's.
Yeah,
I got him one. I sent him.
Was it Ethan Van Scriver who spent 2 years with those like Rose Tico figurines, just smashing them on camera?
Yeah.
He was the only guy in America buying them, apparently.
Yeah. It's like, I know we're getting close to the end of this stream, so once you guys. Matt, I know your Friday show is fantastic. I love you. I love hanging out with you on Fridays. I'm usually listening while I'm driving, so I'm not able to comment, but I'm listening. Besides your Friday show, tell everybody what time that is and what other type of things you're working on.
Okay, so I have my Friday show, like you said, roughly 3 p.m. It's meant to be a drive time little thing. It's not like
So, which means I can't lend itself to comment and interact with you. My problem, which is great. I mean, I love listening to you, but I can't always like, hey, yeah, you're right. He's talking about Pop, and I'm like, yeah, I'd like to answer, but I can't right now.
I regularly appear on Roman of the Empire's Thursday show. So next week he's doing a like a random roundtable type of thing. Then after that, we'll be talking about the Acolyte. I semi-regularly appear on Jacob Ironside's Tuesday movie reviews. Yep. This week coming up, we'll be reviewing Leon the Professional. We just did a great one 2 weeks ago with I should have kept the name. The movie's called The Grand Silence. El Grande Silencio. It's the greatest spaghetti western of all time. That's a really cool show if you want to go back and find that. On my own channel, I've been a little quiet because of a leg injury I've been dealing with, but I'm getting back on track right now. Literally, right when I get off this Pops, I'll be reviewing Captain Horatio Hornblow RN, the 1951 movie. So that hopefully will be up tomorrow. Then I'm going to watch the series from the 90s. I'll be watching the next episode of Sharp today, so I can review Sharp Season 4, Episode 1. I just finished my Shogun reviews of all 10 episodes and whatever. That was 2 weeks ago. That's kind of what I got going on my channel. And I think I'm going to drop a review for a movie I watched that was surprisingly good. Tom Hanks' World War II film, Greyhound. Surprisingly good.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
All
right. Matt, what's your schedule like? Yeah, you, Matt.
Usually, so getting back to my regular routine of things, I do the Thursday night rundown, Thursday evenings. They fluctuate. It's either like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and that's just kind of reviewing what's been going on, the nonsense for the week, and then any funny things that I can find, whether it's pop culture related or not, that are just funny to laugh at. I'm going to start bringing back my Tuesday streams, the Take Me Back Tuesdays, where we either go through either a full year of video games, music, movies, whatever was hot back then, or I'm going to start picking specific movies. This is kind of rehash and more of like a fun stream. Like I said, bashing the negativity and laughing at it is great, but I need that cleanse. If I don't have it, it's not good for me. So the Tuesdays are more enjoyable stuff, things like a stream like this where we're going back and like, hey, remember 1998 when this happened, or these games that we love back in the day. So that's what the Take Me Back Tuesday streams are. And then I'll be kind of special guesting your streams coming up, a couple of those. If you want to talk about those.
Talk Hard on Tuesday. You'll be here with me over Galaxy Quest this week.
I'm excited about that. Such a good movie.
Yeah, and he'll be back with me on the July 4th week. July 2nd, Talk Hard will be Jaws. Because how could I not? I know it's 50th year next year, but we'll do a whole 50th. Talk about a Jaws Day next year. That needs to happen. There needs to be a Jaws Day next year. Because Jaws really set all this up, by the way, guys. We don't give Jaws enough credit for it did something different with the summer impact, and it also like got into merch and stuff differently and transformed music and some different things like that took off that kind of laid some of the groundwork for Lucas to springboard off of. Even though this was not planned, orchestrated, I just think it just worked out that way. So, Matt, you were going to say something else before I go close a couple more things?
I'll just agree with you about Jaws being underrated.
Oh yeah,
it's like we had all the overseas Japanese kaiju films, and we had the older American monster movies from the 50s and 40s, but then that all sort of ended early 70s, and then Jaws comes along with the sort of real world creature monster movies.
Yep.
We had the really good alligator TV movie a couple of years after that.
Piranha and all sorts of crazy stuff happened.
The Piranha films, the Killer Bee movies,
Yeah. So after this, Star Wars Day is going to go on for a little bit. We got all sorts of haphazards of stuff here. So we'll have a couple shorts. I have a little card video, kind of an update on some trading cards, Star Wars trading cards. People have asked me, and I just haven't done anything. So, I'll just do it on Star Wars Day then. So it's kind of like a little finger on the pulse of some of the most popular, most expensive ones. Not like a big broad thing. I tried to film my binder, which was a big mistake because the light glares on it, so that didn't work. So you didn't get as much of a robust video. It's got an abrupt end. You'll know what happened. But that's coming up, and then a great video. It really was. I think at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time with Ego. Ego is not a Star Wars guy, so I thought it'd be interesting to have the new point of view, kind of his take a little bit on finding Star Wars, what his thoughts are, why he couldn't engage Star Wars to get into it, those kinds of things. That happens. And at 5:30 Eastern time is the big Phantom Menace review reaction. Great panel on Arwen Avalon, the BackTube guy, Daryl, and Darth Arlena, and of course Magitech Mags will be with me, and that's how we'll close out my Star Wars Day. But guys, get over to Pacific 414 stream, Angry Canadian, DJ Ronnie G, Decepticons got a couple shorts, things of some Star Wars, which is an old comic, but he's got a Star Wars 12, I think it was. Cool comic to look at. So, yeah, guys, let's just get out there. Let's put some positivity on the other side of that. Do some good stuff. So, Jaws, yeah, Jacob, you were on with Jaws. Yeah, it's my first time. That's the first time talking about Jaws too. It's going to be a Star Wars game day. Yeah, you got to do it, man. You got to do your thing. So, and with that, again, this will be the last time publicly. We'll do it. I'm going to close with this. After this, it'll go behind the member wall. A little WATTO love for Nos. Listen, I'm not above, doing some crazy things. So here you guys go. Be blessed. Enjoy the rest of your Star Wars day. Gentlemen, thanks for hanging out with me. Matt, both of you, but Matt especially. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for so long.
Thanks,
Take care,
as always.
everybody. Talk to you soon. After years of Star Wars fans getting exactly what they wanted, seeing heroes rise, heroes fall, heroes rise again, they can now get the true story of a character that they've all been clamoring for.
Did I ever tell you about Watto?
I have a promise to keep to an old friend.
Well, hurry back!
Yes, a being so powerful that he can stand face to face with a Jedi.
How's he gonna pay for all of this?
He can effortlessly turn away the powers of the Force.
What, you think you're some kind of Jedi waving your hand around like that?
Strong determination will now finally come to the screen sometime soon.
Wait for me!
WATTO.